I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. I bought my first 7-string guitar last week. This is a Music Man JP7, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to do a little video sharing a few little tips and tricks for using your 7 or 8-string or drop tune 6-string electric guitars when you're dialing in high gain tones to just get a little bit more clarity for everything that is going on. So let's start out with the FAS Modern amp model in the Axe-Fx 3. I really like this for low tune stuff because it's not based on a real world amp. The advantage being that there are several features in this which would either be really expensive or almost impossible to implement in real world amplifiers with some of the filtering in there. So with that in mind, we have this kind of unreal amp model, and at totally stock settings with my LT TV Mix 7 IR, which is based on a greenback cab, this is what it sounds like. It's already pretty savage. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I actually need a little bit less gain from this amp model. If I bring it down just below 4, it just takes a bit of that sizzle out and it gives me a little bit more clarity. Sounds monstrous, which is what we want out of a high gain tone like this. The first little tip I want to share though will apply just in general if you want a slightly clearer, tighter high gain sound. And we're going to use the input EQ in the amp block to do this. You can see the low cut for the FAS Modern is already at 100 Hertz. And the classic modern metal trick is to use something like a tube screamer, drive on 0, level on 10 into a high gain amp. What that does is it gives you a bit more gain, but it also takes out a lot of low end between your guitar and the front end of your amp. So it is like cleaning up the sound of your pickups. And I've got this guitar in drop A, so this low A string is really quite low, and it is going to easily saturate the input of, you know, most high gain amps. So what I can do is I can go quite extreme here, and keep in mind this is going to seem extreme, but it is before the gain and it's before the bass and the middle and the treble controls on the amp model. So I'm going to set this to 500 Hertz and listen to how much extra clarity and how much tighter this sounds when I press enter. I like it a lot. If I was playing a 8-string or a 9-string, I might even take that higher. If I was using my PRS in drop C, I might only set that to around 300, 350 Hertz. Use your ears with that one, but it means we don't have to use an external drive model or anything like that. Another cool thing is if I didn't want to use that low cut, let's set that back to 100 Hertz. I would probably be pretty happy with this as a core tone to do some recording with, by the way. Like, if you learn anything from this video, that input EQ low cut is the one. But we have built-in preamp boosts in the amp block, and the grinder boost is a pretty amazing one for extended range guitars. What I like to do is actually turn the drive control down below 3 on this amp and add at least 16, 18 dB of gain from the grinder based on the Fortin grind, which in itself is based off the TC Electronic integrated preamp as used by Meshuggah, which is why this grinder was so requested, and it's why we've got it. And have a listen to how it adds gain, but it also adds clarity because of that really extreme kind of low cut. It's also giving it, I think this is actually just a tilt EQ, so it's giving it a kind of like mid-range focus as well. that is just brutal. It can sound a little bit harsh on its own, but keep in mind when you're tuned this low, and you've also got super low tuned bass guitar and drums in there, that mid-range spike is really going to help the guitars cut through. And again, adjust the boost level to taste right there with the grinder. There's a couple of other really good boosts in there. You could just use something like a T808. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like compared to the grinder. That has got a slightly chewier thing going on right there. The CC boost or the shred boost are really good as well. The shred boost is really, really over the top, but maybe let's stick with the grinder. Another cool thing you can do is the Andy Sneap style multi-band compression trick for your low end. I'm gonna be super lazy. I actually have these settings saved in my blocks library. I think I've covered them a few times in these videos and in videos over on my channel. I actually use these in my live preset all the time. So basically the low and the high band, we're turning the thresholds and the levels to 0 so that we're basically disabling them. And then the mid band is set between about 90 and 350 hertz, so that when I do palm mutes, it is going to compress everything there, but when I play open, it doesn't compress. One last thing that I'll add to this particular preset is a gate, and the kind of big trick with the gate is you put it in between the amp and the cab block if you want it really tight, and you set the sidechain source as input 1. So basically the gate is going to open and close depending on the raw sound coming out of my guitar, but in doing so, it is placed after the amp block, so it can really cut down on any excess hiss and noise. With this guitar, I need the ratio at about 4 because I'm pretty terrible at playing a 7-string and there's a lot of extra kind of string noise. Let's go for a really fast attack and we'll do the hold and the release at around 10 milliseconds as well. So this is what the side-chained gate gives us. We could probably bring up the threshold a little bit. This guitar is pretty hot, and maybe bring the hold and the release times down closer to 5 milliseconds. We get this. Nice and tight without kind of being too glitchy or staccato or anything like that. It still sounds nice and natural. What I would do from here is just add on the normal good stuff I would like with a high gain preset, like some delay for my lead scene and maybe a bit of just kind of a nice short reverb. One of my favorite reverbs for that is the Recording Studio C. So let's do that. And again, I don't want this to actually sound like a big ambient reverb. I want more of just a subtle kind of room enhanced sound. So I will set the time at half a second and the mix at 10%. We get this. There's just a tiny little bit going on there. It's almost like the old rack units that would have something called early reflections. We're basically just getting a little bit of that into the tone. And then for a lead thing, like I said, let's maybe use something that we did last week, which was the dual delay, circular delay thing. And I'll play you all out with this. If you have any other questions you would like me to answer or any requests for future videos, please let me know in the comments below. Have a great week, and I'll see you all next time for another Tuesday Tone Tip.